There's podcasts this week. Oh my god.
Hey! Hello, hello.
Oh my god. It's like
What?
I think it was that slump that's like, oh god, I gotta take a break. So early in the game, nobody's thinking we're coming back. Shit.
No, we're back. We're back for good now. Last week was a blip.
Yeah,
Ah,
but that was my
could've-
fault. So,
you missed my blip joke.
oh god. Oh, okay, I get it. Never mind. Okay, that took me a minute.
Uh, can we like link dump some tumbleweed?
Yeah, sure. I'll put tumbleweed right where the part where I didn't get it. Um, so Serena and Fran are just here today because nobody else is here. I guess they got trampled in Black Friday. I'm not really sure, but
Yeah. All right. What is Black Friday, guys?
Black Friday is the day after Thanksgiving. Usually the day after Thanksgiving, people want to get a head start on Christmas because it's
Okay.
at that point it's a month away. So it's like, oh crap. We're gonna get all this shit. We weren't prepared. So some people like to go right, right after they eat dinner or whatever. They like to go out and camp out in front of Target or Walmart or, Bed Bath and Beyond. And some stores start Black Friday before even Friday starts. Like
Oh,
like I think J.C. Penney or Macy's started at 8 on Thanksgiving Day. Like
God,
8
it sounds horrible.
p.m. and then there was like a sale at 8 p.m. Then they close, open back up at midnight. They close,
I mean,
open back up at 4, and
Yeah, from what I've kind of heard on Facebook, I mean, I realise this might be like wild rumor mongering, but it sounds like people literally trample each other.
yeah,
Like,
people have been killed in Black Friday. Black Fridays in
that's
the
terrible.
past, yeah, just like trampled, and it's pretty. I mean, I would probably never go to one except for like to have fun, but
Yeah, but I can imagine the people that take it really seriously are pretty vicious.
yeah, there are people who take it really seriously, and that kind of takes all the fun out of it.
Yeah, I mean, there must be something quite fun about kind of going just for sort of the atmosphere and not really giving a
Yeah,
shit. But
and I've heard people that say like, the media concentrates too much on, the bad things that happen, and all of these photos of people climbing over each other to get Xbox games, and
God.
people say that the media really concentrates too much on that, but it's like in
Yeah, I
in
expect
smaller
they do.
towns, people are there to have fun, and everyone's smiling, and because
I guess
they're
it just
getting free
makes it a more
food.
interesting story,
Yeah, they do
unfortunately.
make interesting stories because, like, employee trample on Black Friday or whatever. But it is kind of a hellish day for retail because there's just so many people, and sometimes if people do take it seriously enough, they can be very rude, and
Oh yeah, I can imagine working Black Friday. I can imagine that's like some kind of rite of passage if you're in retail.
yeah. No, ask Rose about that. She actually
Oh, really?
just got a job, like I think it was like a few days before Black Friday.
And was she actually working that day?
Yes.
Oh, God. God. She must have some stories.
But
Oh,
we were
also, I
talking
wanted to
about,
ask.
huh?
Oh, sorry, go on.
We were talking about before this what Thanksgiving was in Canada. I really have no idea.
I don't know.
You live there and you have no idea why you guys have a Thanksgiving.
I mean, I assume it has something to do with natives. Maybe it has something to do with when we met them the first time and we started the fur trade. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the turkey thing, I think that's all from you guys, because we never did a turkey dinner.
Thanksgiving in Canada. It's the second Monday on October. Let's see.
Do you know what, though? I don't think the heritage of it, like, particularly matters. I just think it's a really lovely idea. I think every country should do it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Or every
it's,
country with, like, a shitload of money anyway, like England or the US.
The history of Thanksgiving in Canada can be traced back to 1578, which was actually, that might have been, no, that wasn't before ours, never mind. But some guy went to look for the Northwest Passage.
well, what's his name? Maybe I heard of him.
Martin Frobisher. But,
No idea.
but he
Great name.
went on a voyage, he found Nunavut, and he did something there.
Sorry, Greer, he found what?
Nunavut, which is
Nunavut.
Nunavut. Is that how you guys pronounce it?
Nunavut.
Yeah.
It's just a place.
That's like the
It's a
place in
province.
Canada that's like nearest to the North Pole, right?
Nearest
It's like,
or near.
yeah, it's like all tundra there or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you were, because before we were recording, you were saying that, you know, our Thanksgiving was about, you know, the natives and the pilgrims sitting down and having dinner. That's actually that's the story that we learned in grade school. That's the story where, like, oh yeah, Squanto teached all the pilgrims how to grow corn, and, you know, everyone's really friendly with each other. But then the second we got into middle school, all the social studies books said, like, oh yeah, that was a fucking lie, what you learned in elementary school. The pilgrims actually, the natives tried to help the pilgrims, but then they just ended up killing all the natives.
Yeah, that's clearly what happened.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
but,
it's
the other
true.
one was...
We have Thanksgiving because all these English people came here and killed a bunch of Indians.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's shameful.
But
I'm so sorry we did that to your country, Greer.
yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, we didn't kill ours, but we weren't much nicer because we had, like, crazy rules. Like, if you were a native, you couldn't be, like, a doctor or a lawyer unless you gave up your status. And we had, like, residential...
Whoa!
We were
When was that? How recent was that?
That was not recent. That was, like, the 1700s.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's all equal now.
Like, the Indians thought it would be smart because, you know, the Indians, the Native Americans were pretty smart people. But they're like, okay, so, like, they have guns and stuff. Even though we outnumber them, they still have, like, fucking guns and shit. So maybe if we taught them how to do something, you know, and not, you know, if they fail at doing something, maybe they'll blame us and we'll get killed, or we'll get killed, you know, for our resources or whatever. So we gotta teach them how to do stuff, maybe. So I think that part of the story is true, that they did teach them how to, like, make corn and fish. I think that part is true.
But then they just killed them all anyway after they were done with them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what? Pilgrims.
We celebrate Thanksgiving because of the slaughter of thousands of innocent Native Americans.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's interesting though what you were saying, Serena, about how that wasn't recent, you know, that was sort of in the 1700s. I mean, it just kind of reminded me, like, on a totally unrelated subject, like, I didn't realize how recent there are some really weird laws, or there have been some really weird laws that have only been kind of outlawed in the last sort of, you know, 50 years, 100 years. I mean, it's like I found out recently that in Ireland, homosexuality was against the law like 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Ireland is, you know, sort of a Western country. I mean, that's really shocking.
I mean, I think, God, what state is it? It's either, like, I think it's Mississippi or Tennessee. It was, like, less than 30 years ago. It was still, I think it was still, interracial marriage was still against the law less than 30 years ago.
The last residential school here closed in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What's a residential school?
It was,
It's like a boarding school, right?
Oh, I see.
It was schools for natives, and the idea was just sort of like, we have to teach all the native kids English and stuff, and it was not a bad idea. It's just that they sort of just went around kidnapping kids, and their parents didn't speak English, so they didn't really know what was going on.
Oh, God.
And took their kids and put them in school, and then it was just because, I don't know, I guess back then, we all know how schools kind of sucked because everyone just beat the students constantly, but
yeah,
we have it to the extreme because the kids didn't have parents to go home to, and they were, like, all in these really isolated areas where no one ever checked up on them, so these people just went nuts, and a lot of kids died.
That's a horrible story.
Yeah, it's just shitty.
Really? I mean, so when you say the last one closed in the 90s, Serena, I mean, were there at that point, were there laws protecting the students, and were they still kind of safer places to be, or were they
I'm not
still
an
insane?
expert, but I'm pretty, like, it was, they had to follow the rules that every other school did in the 90s, but it's just that,
I suppose it's the legacy of it, and it's, such a kind of horrible idea, I guess,
yeah, everyone just sort of wanted everyone to go to the same schools, and
Yeah, which is completely right, I think.
yeah.
God, that's mad. I need to look those up. I'm really interested now.
Yeah. But there are countries around here, who, still, kill people, for being an atheist or
of
or
course,
being gay. A bunch of countries in Africa for some reason. I think, South Africa is very progressive and, or technologically, they're very advanced, South Africa. Egypt's pretty advanced. I don't know their laws in both of those countries, but, there are African countries that are advanced. But then there's, like, the ones in the middle that are, like, they're still living, in the dirt, and, they think killing off gay, or the ones that have government, they're like, they think killing off gay people is, like, way more important than hunger.
Well, that's what's so baffling is, this whole, I don't know whether you heard about the Kill the Gays bill.
The Uganda. Fucking Ugandans. Uganda needs to get their shit together.
Yeah, well, although it's the people in power, and I really feel sorry for the individuals that live there. It's absolutely tragic. Do you know what I heard, which I just think is remarkable? They had a gay pride parade in Uganda.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not think that is just like the bravest thing you've ever heard?
Yeah, what's fucked up is that I'm pretty sure that the idea was first, like, planted in the idea of, the people, the government in Uganda. It was first planted by, like, some senator in, like, Tennessee or some shit, and
oh god, that's horrible.
Yeah, and I'm like,
well, I know that
everything. We just need to stop. I'm sorry that we ruin everything.
Yeah, Team America World Police, you need to stop. I just think it must have started out as, or the excuse they must have originally used, in fact, I'm pretty sure of this, is that it was a way of kind of, I don't know, I guess managing the AIDS crisis. But, then you've got people engaging in, well, like, for instance, you can be put away for holding hands with another person of the same sex.
But then we found out in the fucking, 80s and 90s that it's not AIDS is not a specifically gay disease. Science has proven this.
Absolutely. It's an incredibly poor excuse, but I suppose it was kind of just, because if you're talking to people that maybe don't have all the education at their disposal, and you say this is the way we're going to manage AIDS, then I suppose, unfortunately people buy it.
30 years ago, we still thought that swimming in the same pool with somebody with AIDS could give you AIDS.
Yeah, but don't forget, like, when AIDS first was a big disease, like, it was in Canada, and it was in, like, the Western civilizations. AIDS was the most common in gay men, and lesbians were the least, I can't think of the word. Susceptible. But in other countries, like Africa, it was straight women who were the most at risk, and it's different for everywhere.
Absolutely. It's a cultural thing, and I think it's really difficult. Speaking to people that were kind of young in the 80s, and when I say young, I don't mean like kids. I mean, like teenagers and young adults in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. But just because Freddie Mercury died of AIDS, that doesn't mean it's a gay disease.
No, I know, but I think there was a time when, like, culturally, gotta be really, really careful how I say this. Like, there used to be a lot of promiscuity. I think just, not because people not because gay people are naturally promiscuous or anything horrible like that.
Because nobody was educated about sex in the fucking 70s.
And also I think just because, you know, the restrictions of kind of mainstream culture and how homophobic it was would make you, I think, or would make some people, you know, want to go out and kind of, you know, rebel and kind of go against the mainstream. And I can completely understand that. And I mean, you know, it's just the same as any, you know, subculture or culture that's been repressed.
Yeah. But,
you can edit that and turn it into something that doesn't sound insane.
No, it makes sense, because it's like, you know, gay guys, they didn't know that they were supposed to use protection, because it's like, oh, we can't get pregnant, you know, what's the big deal? But then it's like, oh, oops, you know, but then...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's like, but, you know, what you said about in Africa was all, like, straight women, and it was the fact that, you know, they could not get protection. They couldn't get any form of contraception, well, not contraception, but protection or anything like that, because, you know, most of them at the time were still third world countries.
Absolutely, and religiously, they, you know, because obviously Catholicism is, you know, I think it's one of the biggest religions over there. You know, they were taught by the Pope that contraception was a sin, and if that's the only kind of education at your disposal, then you're fucked.
Yeah. If we are talking out of our asses right now, please leave us a comment.
He's like, I don't want to hear 3 fangirls talk about the AIDS crisis. Thank you very much.
And I'm sure there's a market for that somewhere. I'll tell you what, Greer. We'll all, after this podcast, we'll all go away and check up on our facts, and then send them to you, and then you can edit it to make it sound like we know what we're talking about.
I'm not that good, you know. Real talk? Freddie Mercury's death day was yesterday. That was
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, I've never talked about Freddie Mercury with a Brit before.
Okay.
It's Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury's a big deal, right?
Yeah, he's a pretty big deal. Yeah, I mean, Queen... It's funny, Queen... I was speaking to my mum about this, and apparently they weren't kind of considered, like, I guess, cool. They were very sort of, you know, they had a lot of mainstream popularity.
Yeah, that was what my dad said. Because he remembers when Queen was popular. He was alive when Queen was really popular. And it was just like, he was more into, like, you know, American rock bands like the Eagles and, you know.
And like over here it would have been, you know, like Rolling Stones, David Bowie. But I mean, they became really, really popular when I was in my teens. Yeah. And
well, my dad remembers it, you know, not being very cool to like Queen, because they weren't very, to him, they weren't very hard rock at the time, but now he, like, they're one of his favorite bands of all time now. And it's like, I really, like, he never knows why he never got to see them, but he could have gone to see Queen, but, you know, he went to Paul McCartney the Wings concert instead, so...
I mean, I love Queen. Like, they were my favorite band growing up. And I mean, not just because, I mean, I liked the way it almost sounded like musical theatre.
Yeah.
Like, which is why, you know, obviously it does lend itself to musical theatre because of things like We Will Rock You, but...
Isn't it, like, against the law in the UK to, not like Queen?
Oh no, that, believe me, somebody...
Can't you get, you know, 2 to 5 years in jail for not liking Queen?
No,
in the UK?
Bullshit there, I'm afraid to say.
Yeah. I heard that on TMZ or something, I'm not really sure.
But I don't know, like, I think I liked that they always sung about love.
Yeah.
Like, and kind of when you're, like, 15, you want to have that kind of, like, insane, passionate, like, tear-jerking, like, rock star love. So, yeah, the fact that they sung about love in such a kind of passionate, over-the-top way, I think really spoke to me, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I think, I always get...
Same thing.
I always get people, especially in the Queen Facebook page, whenever they post something about Queen performing, and, because Queen still performs. They just always get...
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they just always get new singers, but it's always Roger and Brian picking someone who, you know, they think who can live up. Well, not live up, But, you know, they personally
somebody-
pick out these people. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going to trust these people's judgment, whoever they pick, you know, to sing with them. They sang with, Jessie J sang with them at the Olympics. Fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I love Jessie J.
Oh my god, she's
I
so
think you like Jessie J.
Oh my god.
I mean, I think that it's not about the money song is, you know, somewhat flawed considering she must have got millions and millions of pounds for doing it, but at the same time, it's an undeniably catchy song and she's an awesome performer.
I love her. Oh my god. I remember it took her a while to get popular over here, because she's already really popular overseas, but then it took her a while to get popular over here. I remember everyone was like, the price tag, okay, but then it slowly seeped in the mainstream, and everyone was like, yeah!
I don't know, anything but Call Me Maybe.
Can we talk about Canada for a second?
Yes.
Okay. I saw a photo of, I have nothing against this kid, Justin Bieber. I have nothing against him. I know a lot of people want him to die and shit, but I'm like, he's a fucking kid. But,
yeah,
he met your prime minister.
That's not that important. A lot of people have met Stephen Harper. He's kind of not a big deal.
Yeah, but he met your prime minister. But what he wore was, because they had a before picture when he met Obama, a suit, tie, all that good stuff. When he met your prime minister of his country, he had Wreck-It Ralph overalls, backwards cap, and like a white shirt that looked like it hadn't been washed in 3 days.
Yeah, because it's so casual cool.
I know, he looked like a trailer kid. Like, I'm just like,
right,
wear a fucking tie.
No, it's because it's such a not big deal to meet Stephen Harper that you don't
really
have to get...
not a big deal?
No, not at all.
I was kind of pissed off. Like, oh my god, dress up a little bit. Wear a shirt with a collar, you know? I don't know, I feel like if I was meeting a political figure, even though if it wasn't like a huge deal, I would still wear like, you know, a collar, maybe a tie. If I was a guy, you know, I'd wear something nice than, you know, Wreck-It Ralph overalls. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking, especially if he dressed up for the president. But then again, I don't know.
He did dress up. He did dress up for the president. It was
right. That's what I mean. If he did for that and not for Harper, I'm not sure exactly what he was thinking. But then again, maybe the White House was more strict and was like, you have to be this dressed like whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, some people took that as like, you know, him making a statement like, oh, he dressed up for President Obama, but he just looks like a fucking dirt kid when he goes to meet his prime minister of his country. And I'm like, it's not a political statement. He's fucking 18 years old, and he's a pop.
Yeah, he wouldn't even, I don't even think he...
It's not that deep.
Like, he doesn't even probably see the difference there.
But I remember, like, a lot of, and it was strange because a lot of Americans were, you know, saying that, you know, oh, he should have, you know, dressed up a little bit. It's the leader of his country. And, you know, I kind of agree, but I don't know. I just thought he should have worn something else besides fucking dirty ass overall. He looks like he's from here. He looks like he's from our trailer park down the street.
But, you know, that's, you know,
it's very American of him.
Are we still on Justin Bieber?
Yes.
You know, whoever, he has someone dress him, I assume. That's probably their fault.
Fran, have you seen the picture of him when he met Stephen Harper?
No, I haven't.
He literally looked like fucking, he had like Wreck-It Ralph overalls, fucking wife beater shirt, and a backwards baseball cap.
But do you know what? When Ricky Gervais went to the White House to meet Obama, he turned up in his pajama trousers.
Oh, wow.
I think that's really awesome. I'm sorry, I think that's genius.
Serena was saying, like, maybe, like, he dressed up for the president because it's, like, you know, they have, like, a suit and tie, you know, rule there.
I guess so. I mean, Justin Bieber, I suppose part of me thinks that Justin Bieber just isn't as cool as Ricky Gervais and therefore can't get away with it. But at the same time, I guess, you know, ultimately treating these people with that kind of reverence, I just, you know, I don't think it's what's really important.
I feel like, because you're saying, like, meeting a prime minister there apparently isn't, like, a huge deal, but, if I don't know, if I lived in D.C. and, like, Obama was walking his dog and I would see him every day walking his dog down my street and I would go out and say hi to him, I would, every single day, I feel like I'd still at least wear nice shoes. I don't know, maybe, like, over time, I would have become less and less dressed up to say hi, but I feel like every single time I would still at least wear, a nice pair of shoes.
I would because of my own self-consciousness, my own crippling self-consciousness, but I would respect anyone that didn't. Because, also, I just think celebrities meeting politicians I find irritating in itself, because it's like, well, why do celebrities have, any more sort of monopoly or knowledge on these things than ordinary? Like, it really irritates me when...
I think it's because, if they have notoriety, they can reach a bigger audience with, whatever political stance they have.
I suppose it's not so much the celebrities that annoy me, it's the fact that politicians... they want to be seen, for instance, like David Cameron, he wants to be seen, like, shaking Jamie Oliver's hand and licking his ass because Jamie Oliver's really into healthy eating. And yet, in terms of, do you know who Jamie Oliver is?
We know who Jamie Oliver is.
Yeah, and yet, he's not actually doing anything substantial about it, and he's not really asking the tough questions.
Doesn't Jamie Oliver have, like, a charity, like a hunger charity or some shit, though?
I'm not sure. Jamie Oliver, he's alright. He kind of irritates me for, like, a whole other reason, because he can be very, very self-righteous. Like, for instance, he does these adverts for a supermarket over here called Sainsbury's, and he tends to do them around Christmas, and he advertises incredibly fatty food, really, really unhealthy, and then talks about what good value it is, so we should all come and buy it. And it's like, you can't...
Isn't he all about, like, organic food and shit, though?
Well, no, a lot of it is just...
Yeah, I know, but, like, I think I saw, he had a show over here called Jamie Oliver's Food Revolution, and all he did on that show was go to schools and talk about eating healthy and stuff.
Well, yeah, he'll be like, just because kids are from lower income families, they should still eat they should still eat organic foods, and that should be provided. And it's like, yeah, great, I totally agree with you. But then don't, for like millions and millions of pounds, go on TV and tempt all the poor people into buying the lovely mince pies. It just, fuck off.
Yeah. Speaking of celebrities meeting presidents, have you guys ever heard the story of when Elvis met Richard Nixon?
No.
Oh. Elvis met Richard Nixon back when Richard Nixon was in office. Elvis wanted... I read this, I think it was in... I think it might have been in Smithsonian, I read this article. And then I saw it actually on, like, a VH1 Shocking Music Moments list, was when Elvis met President Nixon. Because I'm not sure... if Elvis, like, actually agreed with anything that Nixon did. I'm not really sure. But I know Elvis wanted to go meet the president and get a badge that would allow him to carry a gun around and, like, have marijuana on a plane. Like, have recreational drugs. I forget, like, what that badge is called, but you can get one from the president. Like, it's like the Department of Recreational Drugs or some shit like that.
What?
But that was the only reason that he wanted to meet Nixon. Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let me... but if you look up, like, Elvis meets Nixon in the images, you can see, like, him... shaking hands with Nixon, and, Nixon's looking at all his jewelry, and there's a movie about Elvis meeting Nixon. It's some TV movie that they made, and, Oh, yeah, it is some from Smithsonian.
Cool.
I'm looking at the article on the Smithsonian magazine. He wanted a federal narcotics badge, so he could...
A federal narcotics badge?
So he believed, and Priscilla Presley wrote this in her memoir, Elvis believed that he could legally, with this badge, he could legally enter any country with guns and any drugs he wanted to.
But on what grounds then did he request one?
He was just like, he wrote a letter to the president. That was about it. He wrote it on, like, he just scribbled a letter to the president, and they sent it to him.
Probably on the back of, like, a napkin or something. He just sounds insane,
Yeah,
Elvis.
no, Elvis, he wanted to go to the office for the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs, which is an actual bureau, by the way.
Jesus.
But he didn't get approved for a bureau badge when he went to that office, so he wrote Nixon a letter. Nixon got the letter from his aide, who was a really big Elvis fan. So then he got to the White House. Elvis finally got to the White House. He went through Secret Service and he walked in the Oval Office, and I think he had told Nixon that he had been studying drug culture and communist brainwashing, and then he's like, yeah, I'm totally on your side, but can I have a badge for the narcotics and dangerous drugs? And Nixon gave one to him.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
And they hugged it out and shit. And
That's amazing. Right, if I ever have a fantasy dinner party, like, in heaven or wherever, I'd want both Nixon and Elvis to be there, please.
Yeah. Oh, he also brought Nixon a Colt 45 pistol as a gift. He said he came bearing a gift, a Colt 45 pistol mounted in a display case that Elvis had plucked off the wall of his Los Angeles mansion.
That's amazing.
God, I think that's pretty much one of the most amazing stories. But the photo of they didn't release the photo of him and Nixon meeting until like years later, like way after Nixon resigned and way after Elvis died. It was like,
why was it a big sort of like hush hush then?
Kind of. It was like in the 80s. And then this photograph got released, and because it was in the archives. But then a Chicago newspaper bought some after the archives was selling them. After he had died and he had resigned. And then I think it became one of the most requested photographs ever in the U.S. archives history.
I'd love to get a poster of it.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Completely amazing.
In Smithsonian, I was in a doctor's office. I was just reading that, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's hilarious.
Yeah, history's weird.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to tell my kids one day. I heard a really weird story last night, actually, when I was out with my friends. What was it? Oh, yeah, there was this philosopher. I have completely forgotten his name, but I'm going to look it up now. So just bear with me.
Keep talking while you're typing.
Okay. All right. Well, multitasking. You guys talk amongst yourselves. Okay. All right. Well, there was a philosopher whose name I don't currently have at my disposal.
Someone will find out.
Someone will find out. Yeah, if anyone knows, could they please email us?
Yeah.
But
our email address is still gofuckyourselfandie@hotmail.com. So.
Or you can Facebook one of us, alternatively. But no, he was mummified after he died, because I don't know, I think he wants something about wanting to live on in spirit, but he was, no, it wasn't that at all. He was a huge secularist. He was an atheist. So he donated his body to University College London, to have it experimented on. So he was mummified for that purpose. But then the rival university stole his head to play football with, or soccer. So he
what are y'all
now
doing over there? I'm serious. Every time I hear a story about the UK, it's like some crazy ass shit because of crazy ass people. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing over there?
Well, it's all football. Football just clearly makes people crazy.
Yeah.
But he now has a fake head.
Cool.
I know, right? But the reason I bring it up as well is because my best friend's partner wrote an absolutely brilliant song about it, which I've just been listening to all morning. I'm gonna get permission from him to put it in the link dump.
Cool.
So yeah, I will let you know about that when you're editing this, Greer.
Yeah. I think a couple of podcasts ago I was talking about that Nova Science Now show where they did one on brains and stuff.
Okay.
And they were talking about Albert Einstein's brain, and that reminded me of when even to this day, I think it's like one science organization has his body, but then like some other science organization had stolen his brain. Like had stolen his head or something like that, and it's like trying to get his brain back. So it's like, because they, it's Einstein's brain. What's another? I had another story about somebody's head getting stolen.
We're on a roll now.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got a joke.
What?
It's really, really not funny, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. Heads will roll. Hey?
That's a. Is that a Fuck, what song is that? Glee did a mashup of it. Shit, I forgot who. But have you guys know that rumor about like Walt Disney and his head being on the Haunted Mansion and stuff?
No,
I
only know the rumor about Walt Disney being a Nazi, but go on, this one sounds.
I just thought
more...
I only heard the one where his body was frozen.
His body was not frozen.
Yeah.
He is cremated and buried. But there's another rumor connected to that, to the cryogenically frozen story where his head was like put in a thing like in fucking Futurama or some shit, and they put it on the Disneyland Haunted Mansion ride somewhere. But
I think that would smell.
Yeah, but it's not true.
Yeah, there are
like,
so many reasons why that's not true.
People had thought that they had like, oh my god, this Walt Disney's head, but I think like on one of the Haunted Mansion rides they had like a hologram of one of the head busts that looked like Walt Disney, just as like a little hidden Mickey related thing, but that's not really his head.
No, it can't possibly be.
Yeah, Disneyland's so fucked up.
Yeah, Disneyland really is fucked up. I went to Euro Disney about 4 years ago, and it is just a total shithole.
Disney's like trash, right? Like from what I've
like
heard.
really, like I mean, I know. I think they've done it up now because there was an anniversary recently, like a 20-year anniversary.
I still go, like it's.
Oh yeah, it's great fun, and I mean the rides obviously all still work. It just looks quite run down.
Oh, yeah.
But like it's great fun if you're like 18, 19 and you're with all your friends. Like it kind of doesn't really matter that it's a shithole. But
some of the best fun I've had is going online and looking up all these stories and rumors about Disneyland and Disney World and all the Disneys. Like it's so fucked up.
I mean like fairgrounds are kind of inherently creepy anyway.
Yeah.
Because, I guess of the sort of animatronics looking kind of alive but not really alive, and the sort of old creaky rides that don't work, and how kind of intimate and enclosed they are, and the history behind them. Like, they're very, very good, like, horror fodder.
Mm-hmm. You kind of had a moment when I had told you that for Christmas, what they do to the Haunted Mansion ride.
I don't remember that.
I sent you a video of it because I had told you that, and you were like, "Oh my god!" But they do. They completely redo the Haunted Mansion during Christmas time to look like Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh no, that was it. I didn't watch the video yet, but I remember you telling me about it, and I thought that sounded like the most cool fucking thing in the world.
Yeah, I mean, when I first found that out a long time ago, I had a moment. I'm like, hold on, I gotta have a moment. Because I remember when I last went to Disney World years ago, probably my freshman year of high school, like, I had never wanted to go on the Haunted Mansion ride, only because I hate any sort of scary rides, because I'm a scaredy puss, but it's like, a Haunted Mansion just looks freaking cool. Like, now that I look back at it, I'm like, why didn't I not do that? Like, I don't understand, like, why I was such a puss, but...
Yeah, I was a total puss, though, when I was younger. Like, I mean, I didn't, like, stop sleeping with the light on until I was 15. Like, didn't used to go down water slides. Like, I was a total
That
loser.
was weird. You didn't go down water slides?
Oh, well, just because they were so sort of high up, and I thought I would hurt myself or get stuck or something. Like, yeah, I was a wuss.
Yeah. There's only, like the type of water slides, that go, like, kind of almost completely vertical, and it's the ones where you have to, like, cross your arms and stuff.
Yeah, and like cross your
hate
arms and
those.
lie down like you're in a fucking coffin.
Yeah, I don't like those water slides.
Yeah.
There's only one exception I would make to go on one of them, and that's we have a water park in Florida, appropriately titled Wet and Wild, which is a great water park, by the way. But they were the first water park to do this type of water slide where and I'd seen this on the Travel Channel or something, but you get in this, like, encased tube, and it's like they close the door, and you're just standing there with your arms crossed, and the guy outside will, like, push the button, and the floor will drop out from under you, and then you go down a vertical water slide, and I'm like, it just looks cool. And they showed that guy who pushes the button, and he has the best job in the world. Can I just say that? Oh my god. Just pushing that button. And
well, over here it's always
people
like
disappear.
really, really like young pimply teenagers that look like they just haven't got a fucking clue what they're doing.
Yeah, no, but it was like this really energetic, almost sadistic black guy, and he was just, like, having so much fun. Like, he would be, like, singing, and I'm like, oh my god, you have the best job. And that's the reason why he was so
It's pretty amazing. And getting to see people, like, either at the height of their fear or, like, kids at the height of their just, like,
people
joy.
thinking they're going to die, you see that 1,000 times a day on a regular basis.
Yeah, totally. And, like, kids that look like they've had, like, 10 7-Ups. Like, it just looks... Yeah, it looks like an awesome job.
People begging to get out, begging for their lives, thinking they're going to die. Nope, boop, you're gone. And it's like, he was so happy because he knew he had the best job in the world. So he was just, like, happy and shit. He's like, yeah, I have the best job in the world. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh man, I want to go back to Disneyland. When I come to America, we'll all go to Disney World in Florida.
Yeah, Disney. I don't know which one's better because I've never been to Disneyland, so it's just like.
Well, I want to go to Disney World because I mean, surely that's just Disneyland on crack, right?
Disneyland. I think Disneyland has more stuff.
Awesome.
Like Disneyland has like that pier with they have like different rides on it, and they have that, Mickey roller coaster looking thing. It almost looks like, an old fashioned boardwalk looking theme park, but I don't think it's actually
cool.
California Adventure. They have California Adventure. That's what it's called. But
you know what I really want to do? I want to go on a Disney cruise because it just looks like Disneyland, but in the Caribbean on a boat with amazing restaurants, views, the Caribbean, a big giant fucking Andy from Toy Story's room that you can play in. Like, I'm sorry, I know I'm 24, but that just looks shit hot.
I've watched so many documentaries on the Travel Channel. Anytime on the Travel Channel there's like something about Disney, I'm like, I gotta sit down and watch it. But I've seen like 3 different ones on Disney Cruise, and I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, I know. Like,
oh my god, you guys!
Like, if I just want to feel like a little bit like elevated, a little bit high, I just like look at them on the internet, knowing that I can never afford them.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my god.
I know. I wanted to go like to Disneyland or any Disney place since I was like 4.
Have you never been?
No, I've never gone because we just can never afford it.
My dad is in his 60s and he's never been to Disney.
Oh no!
And I'm like,
that's so sad.
Dad, this is a problem.
Well, it's a problem that can be rectified.
Yeah, especially since we live so close, and he's been to like Six Flags and stuff like that when he was younger, not like 40s younger, not younger, but he's been to theme parks and fairs and Six Flags, but he's never been to Disney, even though we live so close. I've been twice, and he actually likes to watch all these shows about roller coasters and stuff.
Oh,
and he's like,
that's quite sweet.
and he's like, I could go on that. Like, let me on that. And I'm like, I could take you to Six Flags and Busch Gardens and Universal, and we can go on all the roller coasters. But I don't know if Mom would let you on because you have a fucking pacemaker. They can't can't stop you.
Oh, that's
they can't
sad.
stop you from getting on. They just recommend that people with heart conditions should not get on.
Yeah, it's a human right. I think what I would do is if I knew I had a week
people
left to live and I had a pacemaker, then I would do it.
I think the only people, like, they stop from getting on rides are, like, women who are clearly pregnant and stuff like that. I think that's the only time where they interfere and say, you actually can't get on this ride because you're pregnant.
See, I know that if I was doing that job, I would, because I mean, I used to work at a garage and I just used to let people drive away without paying for their petrol, and I know that I'd accidentally let a pregnant person on.
Oh.
I just wouldn't be looking, or I would forget.
Yeah.
I must never have that
But it's
responsibility.
like, you can't tell, because, they have these signs that say, people with back problems should not get on, or we recommend that people with these problems should not get on this ride. And it's like, if you have back problems, if you have heart problems, if you have epilepsy, if you have, heart conditions, epilepsy, and it's like a bunch of them. I'm trying to remember. Pregnant women, like paraplegics and, stuff like that. And, but if they clearly can tell that you're, like, injured or have some sort of medical problem, I think they have to stop you from getting on. But then, like, things like epilepsy, you can't tell, if someone has epilepsy just by looking at them.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I mean, you can get on, but, it's your problem. You read the sign and we told you, so...
Well, yeah, precisely. It means they're covered, doesn't it? It means they're not going to get sued.
Yeah, because,
I mean, what I think is really...
I know people who have gone on rides that say, you shouldn't go on this if you have a heart condition. We recommend it, but it's like they have a heart condition, and it's like they're fine,
Yeah, it's not going to stop them.
Yeah.
Fair play, I think. But I think it's incredibly sad that they don't have more theme parks, not just with accessibility, but designed specifically for people with severe physical disabilities. Because I know, because obviously in what I do, I'm a support worker. I work with loads of people that would love to be able to go on theme park rides, but because of their whatever physical disability they might have, it's sort of damn near impossible for a few of them, and I think that's a real shame.
The other reason I want to take my dad to a theme park is actually really selfish, is because he's really old now, or he's mildly old. He's in his 60s, but
mildly old.
Yeah, he's mildly old. But for some places, if he has to go there and stand, he can't stand up for that long anymore, depending on what day he feels good. So some days he'll have to use like a wheelchair now, and that's fine. But at theme parks, handicap lines are the way to go. Honestly, handicap lines are, the fastest line you can take if you have somebody with you in a wheelchair. And I'm like, Dad, I need to take you to a theme park for the most selfish reason, is because if I get in a handicap ride with you, if I'm seen with you and I'm pushing you in a wheelchair, we will get in that handicap line and we will get to the very front of the line. That it's even faster than like a fast pass line. It's like fucking amazing.
Well, don't they just, because fast pass I really hate, because then the queues for fast pass are just as long.
I've been to ones where, because fast pass is kind of a hassle to get, and for some parks you have to pay extra to get them, so it's like a lot of people don't want to use them. But I've been in fast pass lines that are like, I mean, I've never been in, like, a really bad fast pass line. There's always been really quick. But it always depends on what park, stuff like that. But some people don't want to pay extra for, fast pass and shit.
Well, like, we had, like, one theme park that would come every summer. And
like a fair?
And it was, like, such a big deal because it was, like, everyone just got so hyped. And, like, if you got to go, it would be, like, the best summer ever. And I think I only went from elementary school to high school, I think I only went 4 times.
Really?
Because we could never go because everyone I knew either was, like, my friend Janine, who her mom could just afford to send them every year, or it was kids who were, like, so poor, or they were in, like, foster care systems, so they got free passes.
Oh.
And so I was always in the middle. I was just like, I just couldn't afford to go, but I wasn't poor enough to get in for free. So a lot of the time, I didn't get to go. And I remember the last time I went, was in high school, and my mom finally had enough money for me to go, and I went with this kid, and we were supposed to go with this other girl, but then she didn't go that day. So we just were there, me and him, and it was so horrible because he just would not go on any rides. He just
Oh, that's the worst.
like, what am I gonna just go on there while you stand there and watch? That's fun.
That
and,
is
like,
the worst. I can
Yeah.
attest to that. That is the worst. Going with
It's
somebody
the
to a fair or a theme park and they don't want to ride anything.
he just wanted to play bingo the whole time. I'm like, I did not pay $150 to get in here, and then another $100 for a ride pass to play bingo.
$150
Oh yeah, it's expensive.
Canadian dollars?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But I think we have a fair that comes here in town every year, but it stays for 4 days and it costs like $20 for an all pass.
No.
But even Disney isn't that expensive.
Well,
Disney's
they
still
just-
like $100 or something, but not $150. I think the
Winnipeg
cheapest
is
pass
so-
you can get to Disney is like $89.
Yeah, but like Winnipeg is so freaking, we're so easily ripped off. Like we'll just pay any amount. Like
Wow.
at first they charged, it was only like $20 to get in, but then every year they just kept raising the price.
Wow.
No, because first they didn't even charge you to get in, and then they put a price on it, and then they kept raising it, and everyone just kept paying, and no one complained, so they just raised it as much as they wanted.
Huh. That's weird. Like 150, like it's like Disney, like the cheapest pass you can get to Disney is like 70 or $80.
Oh, that's actually really cheap.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
But like it sounds like it's different from like just like a state fair or country fair or whatever. I'm trying to like wrap my head around it. Like like it stays there all summer.
No, for like 4 weeks it stays.
Oh, okay. So it's like,
But
I would assume it's more stable than a fair, maybe.
I don't know exactly because I've never been to a fair, but it's like, it's really big. It's got like tons of rides and tons of games, and like they have like animal shows and like all kinds of stuff. It's huge.
Huh. That's cool. Oh god, what was I gonna talk about? I love roller coasters. I guess that was what I was gonna talk about. Who else loves? I was talking to Serena. I
love
told
roller
her
coasters.
that there was no, because she had said that there was a guy she went with to that fair that didn't want to go on anything, and I'm like, that's literally the worst person you can go with to a theme park or to Disney or anything like that, is someone who doesn't want to do anything because they're scared or they just don't want to.
It's like, why did you even come if you don't like rides?
When I went to Euro Disney with my sixth form college when I was about 17, because it was a college trip and I wanted to go with my friends, I went. And I have to admit, too scared to go on a lot of the rides, but it was to their advantage because I was then able to look after the bags.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you do have to, I think it's beneficial for, I mean, if you're with one other person, I think it's kind of a bummer because you're like, oh, I don't have anyone to wait in this line with and shit. It's going to be boring as hell.
But there were like 7 or 8 of us, I guess.
Yeah, because it's such a hassle. I don't know about any other theme park, but at American theme parks, it's a real hassle because I think Universal had just started doing this within the past 10 years, or maybe even longer, but it's like, if you go on a ride that's, you can't bring any bags on it, like the fucking Hulk, you can't bring any shit on that ride, it's gonna fall off. But, so they have like lockers, and it's such a hassle to get a locker, because you have to remember what number it is. Yeah,
to be honest, I would rather just like travel really light.
You have to remember what finger you used for the fingerprint lock, or whatever.
Oh god.
But and then you'd have to fight your way back in there to get your bag or whatever. I think if you have one other person there, if you're with one other person and they don't want to go on anything, I think that's a real pain because it's like I have no one to wait in this boring ass line with. But I think if you're with a group of like 5 and then there's like that one person that doesn't want to go on, they're the person that holds everything, so you don't have to get a locker or whatever. So, I mean, there's benefits to it, but there's also like fucking pain ass to it. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I would just like, if it was me, I would avoid queuing like the plague, so I would just pack like nothing.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
a wallet, a bottle of water, that's it.
yeah. But, I mean, some people would bring, like, girls would bring their purses, and I'm just like, leave your fucking purse yeah, and I'm talking about the bus, because it's like, like, school trips and shit, because I think half of the times I've been to theme parks have been on, like, school-related, or school-funded trips, so it's like, girls will bring their purses with them, and I'm like, just leave it on the fucking bus, you idiot, and...
Yeah, I know, it's
your
such a
makeup.
status thing.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they might need, like, pads or something.
True.
Oh, yeah, no, fair enough.
But,
Keep them in your shoe.
we're a girl podcast, remember? all the guys are like, whoa, I didn't know we were gonna get into periods.
I love
I didn't
the
know we were talking about
disgust
periods
with
here.
which men treat periods like they're just the most sort of dirty, evil thing in the world.
I know, and they think it's just like a fountain of blood or something. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. And they don't understand that it's just as natural as, like going to the toilet.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like hardly anything.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's nothing. It's nothing, and it's really not as sick as, they would have other blokes believe.
Yeah, and I'd also like to
Perfectly
point
natural.
out that it's not real blood. It just is something that looks like it. Like, it's not actual blood.
Well,
it's not that gory.
Your uterine lining shedding, so it's like, I mean, some of it's blood, I would think, but, whatever. I have no fucking... I don't know. I just know that I have them, so it's like...
I just know that, like, when you see guy comedians talk about it, they just act like it's some sort of, like, like, horror movie.
But it is a horror movie. To me, it is. I don't know.
I mean, but it's much more. I think what irritates me is that I can be in sort of agonizing pain, and you can tell that my male friends are just like a little bit irritated, and it's like, however horrible it is for you, it's much more horrible for me.
Yeah, I think
I know.
I remember when I first told my little brother what a period was, because I think I think it was the last year he ever trick or treated. And we were just walking around. I was taking him to McDonald's or something. We were walking to McDonald's or whatever. And I'm pretty sure I was on my period. And I was telling him, and he didn't know exactly what it was. He just knew that me and my mom bled. And I actually told him what it was. I have 2 stories about this, by the way. But it's I told him what it was, and he said, "That's not very fair."
He's right.
And, he's going to be a freaking scientist one day. He's so intelligent, if you don't know my brother. But, he said one of the things he's going to do after he cures cancer, he's going to find a way to, put it in the genes of women so they don't have to have periods anymore.
Oh,
I don't know how he's going to do that shit.
Your brother, Greer, a hero to womankind.
I don't know how he's gonna fucking do it, but he even likes a Facebook page. That Facebook page that's like, if women, have to have their period every month, a guy should get kicked in the balls every month. And, he's an advocate of that. He's like, that's not very fair,
I mean, I just think it would be fair. The ideal would be would be for us not to have to go through it at all.
Yeah.
But it's the worst. I mean, this is why I don't believe in intelligent design, because no God would. I mean, surely if God designed us intelligently, He would design us without periods.
Yeah. We're getting into this shit now. We're not supposed to go that deep, Fran.
Oh, whatever.
I just don't like. Okay, I'm like so into stand-up comedy. I love it. I just can't stand that guys have like 3 jokes about women that they tell all the time, and then they always get a big laugh, and it's like, really?
It's like periods, shopping, and sex.
Yeah. Well, they basically boil women down to their most basic traits. It's sexist.
A little. I don't know. Well, periods are a big part of things. I like period jokes. I like to tell period jokes, but none of my friends like them, and I'm like,
Well,
oh.
I think the thing, yeah, period jokes are fine, but they have to. I think the
Guys,
thing is
I
with
just really like
any
to tell
joke.
period jokes.
No, I believe you me, Grit. I like to tell period jokes, but I suppose my thing is with any kind of joke that is kind of what some people might call bordering on the questionable, in terms of offensiveness. I think for me, the only time I ever have a problem with jokes like that some people might see as offensive is if I believe that the comedian really thinks like that. So if I see some like macho douchebag get up on stage and be like, yeah, women, periods, yeah, aren't they crazy, hilarious? Like, yeah, fuck off. But if men make kind of wry observations that, they don't genuinely believe, that they're more just commenting on people's attitudes, like, yeah, great, all for that.
Yeah.
All for that.
The other story I was going to tell was that I remember in high school when I was in drama class, we would just hang around a lot. And there was one of my friends, two of my friends were dating at the time. And it's this guy friend of mine that I still know, and he still remembers this, where, I think like two of us were on our period. And he's like, I don't even know, like, exactly, like, what it is. Like, what is it? And I told him, it's like, and I told him like this. I said, your uterus is literally falling out. Your uterus is literally falling out. And the look on his face, I will never forget it. He was just like, oh my God. He was horrified. This was a senior in high school. He was a senior in high school at the time. Horrified. About
when you
what
put
I
it
told
like
him
that,
what a period was.
It must sound like leprosy if you don't know what it is. Like,
It
your
was
uterus
an
is falling out of your
exaggeration.
vagina.
It was kind of an exaggeration because every time my mom was on her period when I was young, she would be like, my uterus is falling out. So I told him, I said, literally, our uterus is falling out of our
piece
body.
by piece once a month.
He was
and just when we think it's grown back again, another bit falls out.
Like, and that's why we bleed. It's because it's detaching and it's falling out. And he was so horrified.
I can just imagine him thinking, like, bits of dead skin are in it, and, like...
The look on his face was just so great. Oh, my God.
By the way, Grit, promise me you won't edit this out. This is gold.
I know, yeah. No, I love that story. I love telling that story. It was just, like, the face he made was just... Oh, my God.
Oh, by the way, guys, on a far more light-hearted subject, it would appear that Tugwatug Secrets is back. Yay!
Yay!
I love Rand
it's
Mosu. They're great.
They really are. I feel sorry for Mosu. I think she had kind of a hard time recently about some of the comments she was making on the posts.
Yeah.
She's very young.
Yeah.
So, fuck it. She's human. She's allowed to make mistakes.
Yeah, I like them. Rance is cool. I follow him.
Yeah, Rance is cool. I was really surprised to learn out that Rance was a guy.
Yeah.
Well, just because, I didn't think, I guess, that... I suppose that guy with the glasses secrets, it seems like such an inherently... And this is my own, I guess, latent sexism coming into play here, but wanting to kind of wax lyrical about our emotions, it just seems such an inherently female thing to want to do. Which is, of course, bollocks.
Tumblr is very female-dominated, I think.
Yeah.
Tumblr in general is very... It's so awful. I just always assume that... Like, people that I don't know if they're male or female on Tumblr, I just always assume that they're female. So it's just like, I'm actually a guy, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I just asked you about skirts.
I do that with, like, the internet in general. If I'm not sure, I just automatically think it's a girl, and maybe that's just because I'm reading it in a female voice because I am a girl. I don't know.
Yeah. Probably.
But it's just Tumblr in general because there's just so many feels on my dashboard. So it's like... Freaky Sherlock, Tom Hiddleston, X-Men, Homestuck. And it's just all, like, girls flailing over everything, like me.
One thing that I think is really wonderful about the internet is that it's one of the only, I think, I don't know, I guess, kind of worlds that is kind of, maybe not even female-dominated, I guess, but kind of, there is sort of a huge, female input in what people are interested in on the internet, what is marketable, what is marketed, and it just I just think because there is no kind of middleman with kind of what is put out on the internet, what is considered creatively viable. Like there's probably more kind of quality content for women on the internet than like any, other medium.
Mm-hmm.
Can you make that make sense, Greer?
Yeah. No, I got that. What was I gonna? I was gonna say something because I mentioned feels. Because I gotta talk video games for a second. You guys will not understand a word I'm saying, but
No, that's okay. Go for it.
well,
Go for it.
who watches? Either of you guys watch The Walking Dead?
No, I didn't. I watched like the first 3 or 4 episodes and then I kind of forgot about it. But it's brilliant.
Yeah,
I will watch it.
I still need to watch the show, but I've been watching like 3 different playthroughs on YouTube by popular YouTubers playing the Walking Dead video game that they have on. I think they have it for PC, they have it for Xbox, they have it on PlayStation 3. There's also a lesser known version on iOS, iPad, iPod, and stuff. But oh my god, the last what they did with the Walking Dead game was they released it in different episodes, like a couple, like a month or 2 apart from each other. So it's just like episode 1 ended. Oh my god, I need the next episode. And you won't be able to download it for like another month or whatever. And they would have a release date and a trailer and stuff. But the last final episode just came out, I think, last week or a few days ago. Oh god. If you think the show is fucking depressing, I can't even talk about
the
it.
show...
I don't want to spoil. I mean, maybe if we have someone on who knows the Walking Dead game like I do, none of you guys know what I'm talking about. But
I mean,
maybe
no, I
later
know, but
if we
I know
have
what you mean.
someone-
I know that the show is kind of unflinchingly horrible in terms of the sort of the realities that it portrays, and the visuals are really sort of stark and unflinching. So I can imagine the video game is just, more of that.
I think, yeah, and the video game is just like, in a way, I think you become, people have said that they become more attached to the video game than they did with the show, because you're actually, like, interacting with these characters in the game. And the thing about the game that's so amazing, and why it's actually getting nominated for Game of the Year all over the place right now,
really?
is because the way that you talk to people, the choices you make on how to talk to people, and what you do, different situations that can change the entire way you play the rest of the game. It's one of those games, and you've seen those video games that like kind of cater to the choices you make, and but it does it in such a different way. Like, there's just something like so amazing about the way it does it. Like, one choice you make in 2 episodes ago will completely affect the game 2 episodes later, and it's like I made that choice a long time ago, but it's completely affecting what I'm doing now, and
yeah, I mean, it's very, it sounds to me like they're getting much more kind of sophisticated in terms of the story.
Oh my god, like, it's just really amazing. And I haven't, confession, I'm talking all this, amazing stuff about it. I haven't actually played it because it's expensive as fuck, okay? And actually, it's actually a fucking steal for what it's worth. It's $25 on Steam. But it's such a fucking steal for what it's worth. It should be a $60 game on the shelf at GameStop, brand new next to Halo 4.
Well, I wonder why it isn't then, if it's getting nominated for all these awards.
I don't know. But for what it's worth, it should be one of those games that's physical copy on the shelf, brand new, $60. That's the worth of this game. Like, it's just so amazing. For $25,
really like to play it.
$25? Like, I'll buy it one day. But I've been watching people play it, and I just love watching people play it because of, like, I want to see, like, what choices they make, because there's so many routes you can go with the story that for, like, every choice you make, the story is different. You get a new piece of dialogue, whatever. And I just liking seeing all the choices people make, and how it affects the game in a way that I didn't see it in a previous playthrough or whatever.
I mean, I suppose the idea is just to make it as much like, if you were in that scenario in real life, the decisions you made
there
would have certain effects.
There are parts in the game where there's a part in the game where you have to choose a person on who to save. Like, there are 2 people, you can only save one of them. I'm not gonna say who for people who haven't played it or just still on episode 1, but there's a part in the game where there are 2 people, 2 people you've just met, and they're really cool people, but you have to choose which one to save. And that, depending on what character, it affects the game later on, depending on who you save. It all kind of turns out the same, but it's like, you have that character throughout the rest of the game, but if you choose the other person, you have that character throughout the rest of the game, or, whenever. But, it's just so great. Oh my god.
It sounds really, really interesting.
Oh my god, it's really great. And you don't even have to know, like, my fear when I started watching playthroughs of it was that, it's like, oh, I haven't watched the series, but it's actually, I'm pretty sure it takes place before the TV series, so it's like, you don't really have to know a whole lot about the show. You just have to know that there's zombie apocalypse, and and the thing about that zombie apocalypse is that you don't have to be bitten to turn into a zombie. You can just die, but you come back as a zombie anyway, depending on if your head isn't smashed in and you're dead, you come back as a zombie. So technically, every person on Earth is infected. Spoiler for those who haven't seen. I don't know if it's a spoiler. It was. I just kind of assumed it was that way, because they mentioned it in the game, and it was kind of a big deal, and I'm like, oh, was that a big deal? I just assumed that everyone on Earth is infected, and if your head's not destroyed and you die, you come back as a zombie. So we're like, destroy the head, we have to kill him, or we're gonna back alive, and
I think I'm gonna watch the show, and then I think at some point I'm gonna force myself to get into gaming if it kills me.
I mean, it's a video game, but it's very point and click, I think. It's an adventure game, but it's also very reminiscent of point and click games.
Point and click. So that's, I mean, is that a kind of much simpler way of playing then?
Pretty simple, yeah. But there's a lot of action that goes into it too. But there's not like, there's a couple scenes where you shoot some zombies, but that it's pretty simple for, people who haven't played FPS or first person shooter, for those, acronym, but
the uninitiated.
Yeah, but
it sounds like a really, really interesting game.
It is. It's really great, and I need to get it, and maybe I'll get it one day. I really, really want it. I just want to play it myself and do all these things.
The first game I want to really properly play and complete is Portal 2, because I'm in love with Stephen Merchant.
You need to play Portal 1 first.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure that
play the first Portal first, only because Portal 2 is it's a pretty long game, but compared to the first Portal, it's a pretty long game, because the first Portal, I've seen people beat it. Like, my brother can beat it in an hour.
Really?
It's pretty short. Depending on how long it takes you on some of these puzzles, but I mean, it's a pretty short game. Even if you're playing it cold the first time through, I've seen people beat it in 2 hours,
Okay, well, that's encouraging.
Yeah, but it's pretty short, so I'd recommend playing that one first, just to,
cool.
Understand how portals work and stuff like that. But Portal 2 is really great. It's really great.
The story.
One of my favorite games ever, I think.
I spoiled the story a bit for myself, because there were loads of weekly playthroughs on YouTube that I watched.
You can talk about Portal 2 spoilers. I mean, it's been out for 2 years, so.
Yeah, it's more that I kind of spoiled it for myself, so I kind of regret doing that.
Spoiler,
because I know now spoilers that Wheatley turns evil, and.
Well, it's
kind of wish I didn't know that.
A big downer when that happens. I'm like, oh, shit. I remember that happening.
Well, it's because Stephen Merchant is so incredibly lovely, but it's a great idea. He's the last person in the world you would expect to play a villain.
He's so funny as that. Oh my
he's
God.
Hilarious. I mean, have you seen his stand-up show, Hello Ladies?
No.
I don't know whether you can get it in America, get the DVD, but it is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
But play the first Portal, which you can get for pretty cheap nowadays since it's been out for a long time. But it's just you can go back to that game, 3 times and not remember how to do something, and it's just like, oh crap, it's like I'm playing it for the first time again. That's God, I don't know which one I like better. Portal's one of my favorite games of all time. But so is Portal 2. So it's like, oh God. That changed me. That game changed me. I don't know. I just really love that game a lot. I remember when
They're beautiful looking. Like I love the kind of sets and things. I love the way they look.
Yeah, I remember when Portal 2 came out, I sat down with my brother and watched him play the whole thing. And we just sat down and played it together. And it ended, and I was just like, well, that happened.
Mind blown.
Oh, God. It was like, when something happened, I'm like, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God.
Oh, well, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to ask for it for Christmas.
You should. I don't know. Do you have an Xbox or, like, PlayStation?
No, I take it you can't get it for the PC.
You can, yeah.
Can you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's such fucking good news. Right, I'm going to get them both for Christmas.
Yeah, it's great. They're both really great.
End story.
But,
oh, that's a happy ending to the podcast.
Yeah. You get both for PC. You might even get them for Mac. I'm not really sure, but,
Yay!
the first Portal is only like, I want to say it's like $9.99, but I really don't know. Someone look that up. I don't fucking know, but
I will. I'll look it up. That's the first thing I'm going to do, by the way, after we wrap this up.
Yeah. We're gonna wrap this up, I guess.
We need to promote things now. It's about that time again, right?
Do we? Oh. I mean, I thought we had worn out promoting last episode.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I can't keep promoting my blog.
Blog!
I think I've...
Blip! Twitter! We don't have a Twitter yet, never mind, but,
What's the expression, flogging a dead horse?
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm doing with my
horse?
blog.
You said flogging a dead horse.
That's an expression.
Yeah, beating a dead horse is what we say here.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting.
Flogging Molly. Okay, anyway, but,
that's interesting. Little cultural difference there.
Yeah. Serena, you came out with a new video that's really funny, by the way.
I was actually kind of nervous.
Were you drunk when you made that?
No, I was just really nervous that it wouldn't be funny. It would just be actually creepy, and I think
it's pretty clear that it's like comedy, but it's still like it's comedy, but it's like it's meant to be creepy. Like I think that's pretty obvious, but I mean, I hope Lupa doesn't take offense or.
Oh, is this your Phaelus video? I haven't watched this yet.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited.
The song. I love it. And I'm like, God, remember when Lupa had short hair? That was a long time ago.
I know. I had to look up like one of the first videos she ever did, and I was like, wow.
The little Phaelus doodle is the cutest thing. Oh my God. Like the little one that you drew and you kiss. Like that's so.
I actually tried to make it look like bad. That's why I didn't do it in my normal style.
It was really adorable. Like.
I'm sure she'd have a sense of humor about it.
Yeah, yeah. Also, your Phaelus cosplay is spot on.
So scary.
That was the best Phaelus cosplay. Wow. Okay. Well, everyone should watch that video. It's a parody of a Kesha song, and it's about Phaelus, so everybody should watch that.
Yeah. So need I say more?
Okay. Blog blip. We still don't have a Twitter. It's kind of a bummer. And
we will.
Maybe we'll have an episode next week, depending on how fucking tired I am. Before we recorded, I rolled out of bed, got online, and then called people. So it's like
you've done very well, Greer. You've been very articulate.
And now I have to go to the grocery store and stumble around like a Walking Dead zombie at the store. So
it's already dark here. It's like pitch black outside.
Serious?
Yeah, it's nighttime here.
It gets dark here now at like 6. It's crazy, but
I know. I love this time of year. I love winter.
Actually, I think I went outside last night. Whoa, and it was like stars out, and it looked like a fucking planetarium outside. It was pretty cool. I think the winter nights have the clearest nights. It's really cool.
Yeah, my best friend Phoebe lives in the middle of the countryside, and I stayed at hers last night. And her bedroom has it's like an attic room, and there's a big window on the ceiling, and it was just the most like beautiful sky last night.
When's everyone's Christmas tree gone up?
About the 15th.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty late.
How about you guys? You think that's late? Really?
When does yours go up?
Like second week of December, maybe. I'm not really sure.
That is too early. Mine's probably gonna go up.
I know people who already have theirs up.
Yeah, that's
I know
crazy
people
in
who
November.
put this up on Thanksgiving Day. While they were waiting for their dinner to cook, they just put up their tree.
No.
But it's like you're gonna be bored of Christmas by the 25th if you do that.
I mean, people might already have gifts to put under there. I mean, I don't know. But...
Yeah, that's true. I bought, by the way, I have a tradition of buying my friend Chris really, really like shit calendars like every year. So last year I bought him like a Cliff Richard one of him like posing on like a motorcycle and Cliff Richard's like 60 if you don't know. And then this year I got him a Colin Firth one. So he's gonna be really bummed
I
out.
like Colin Firth though.
No, I like Colin Firth too, but it's just like he's a sort of 22-year-old lad. Like what's he gonna do with a Colin Firth calendar?
He can fall in love with him while watching the King's Speech or something.
That's true. Like so many of us.
King's Speech, big deal. I love it. But I think I was talking to people like, the King's Speech was one of those movies I didn't expect to love so much, but now it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, I really like it. I know people kind of dispute the historical accuracy of it, but I don't really care too much about that.
Yeah, it's great. Anyway, we said we'd wrap up 5 minutes ago, but then we just kept fucking talking.
Because we're all
I guess because we're women, but I'm not really sure. They're just like, oh, I have to go, but wait, I have to tell you about this one thing. I was going to talk about more stuff, but I completely just slipped my mind, but anyway.
Do you know what? I need to go to the bathroom. Again, for those of you who don't know, which is anyone that's listening to this that isn't actually on the podcast, I have needed to go to the bathroom about 3 times since starting this.
Talk about the loo. Go ahead and talk about the loo.
I've got to go to the loo.
Yeah.
Because I'm diabetic.
We'll wrap up right now. So.
Alright, I'm not really diabetic.
Yeah.
Edit that out, please.
Anyway, we'll see you guys next week, hopefully, if I haven't passed out by then. Because work is really hard. So, if I'm not dead by next week, there
shall be a podcast.
We can still be doing stuff. Alright. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bon voyage.
Bye.
Bye.